Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the Paladino Live Network. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. As, you could say happy Friday once again. These weeks just fly by. It was Monday yesterday, and it's, you know how it works. Just flash, flash, flash. Everything just flashes by, whether it's the week or the weekend. Both flash by in no time. Timberwolves, well, looked ever so promising, winning game after game after game, but then started getting sloppy against the Philadelphia 76ers, and then looked like they were going to crush the Bucks, and everything changed pretty dramatically. In fact, a 34-3 run by the Bucks. Yeah, that was just wonderful. We'll get back to that in a minute. But then the Wolves have an up and down crazy, but high scoring as bleep performance. You thought this went to double overtime or something over the Memphis Grizzlies. So the Wolves go 2-1 this past week. Well, you probably know the reason why you're getting that da-da-da-da-da, like, yeah, it's okay, or maybe not so great, because of the frickin' Bucks game. I mean, was that not as everybody's been calling it? I know I'm just repeating everybody else when I say this, but I was thinking the same thing the whole time, dang it, so it's not like I'm riding people's coattails or anything, I promise. It's a microcosm of the whole damn season. Like, it looks good? No, it doesn't look good. But really, if you want to have a true microcosm, like exact like replica of the season, it would have been like they're down by like 15 points at the beginning of the game, like what the hell, and then you go on a couple of runs and so on forth, and then you go on a huge run and then you collapse and all that, and it's like, yeah, that's a microcosm of the season, the ups and downs in so many different ways. So no, I'm not writing everybody's coattails. I had my own take just now, so na boo boo, I guess. So 3 games to review, 2 games to preview, 2, and then the postseason one way or another. The Timberwolves are in the postseason. Whether you like the play-in or not, there's still a good chance, though. The Wolves, all they got to do is beat Brooklyn and Utah, who have a combined, I can't add. Yes, I can. 43 wins. Combined 43 wins between the two teams, and 107 losses? No, looks like 117 losses. 117 losses on the season. So, yeah, the Wolves should be able to get that done, but will they? Both games will be in the Target Center, Brooklyn and Utah. Like I said, they win both of those, 6th seed. The only problem is I think you're playing the Lakers, aren't you? Oh, boy. Everything will be fine, right? Yeah, I hope. Well, that's the case there. So, shall we, as the Australians might say, get stuck straight into the Timberwolves? Yes. Sticky wicket and all. Yeah, no, sticky wicket's more of the British side of things, but I don't know if you guys, Vince, any of you out there, Vince, or anybody who wants to answer from Australia, do you use the word sticky wicket? I've never heard you say it. I think that's more of a British thing. Compliments to Philadelphia for bringing the whole spectrum vibe back. That is awesome. That 70s and 80s look. Yes, I'm a fan. That is awesome. Everything about the 76ers, their look is awesome. It's just too bad that the damn season ended up being so damned. It was a season of the damned for the Philadelphia 76ers, like Village of the Damned or This of the Damned or whatever. Oh, it was the season of the damned for the Philadelphia 76ers. That'd be a great title for an episode. Somebody over there could use it at the end of the year. 23-55. Yowzas. And then the Wolves, unfortunately, kind of screwed around the whole game. But, they won. But they screwed around the whole game. They won 114-109. You think Joel Embiid was playing or something, and wow, they won. Yeah, I guess Adam Bona. Ever heard of him? I got all his albums, It's good. It's good stuff. 10 rebounds, though, for Mr. Bona. That's great. Lonnie Walker the fourth. So he's the great-grandson of Lonnie Walker Sr. I like that. That's really cool. They even have a guy named Ricky Council the fourth. So a couple of great grandsons on the Philadelphia 76ers. And, I'm telling you, I think their great-grandfather could have played for the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm not even kidding. That's how long the Sixers have been around. They're one of the oldest teams in the league, and also one of the oldest cities in the U.S. as well. Andre Drummond did not dress. So, interesting. I kind of like that. They go with the D&D. Dungeons and Dragons, no. D&D, did not dress. Injury, illness. Kelly Oubre, same thing. Joel Embiid out until 2035. By then he'll be too old. Same with Paul George. Eric Gordon was born in 1925, as was Kyle Lowry. Tyrese Maxey inactive. Jared McCain, no relation to John. Noah and Jared Butler. I don't think there's any relation to that jerk in Northern California. But you look at the starting lineup. What's wrong with you guys? You won by 5 points. Are you kidding? Gershon Gabesi? Really? Justin Edwards. I don't think any relation to Anthony or Ant. Adem Bona, not Adam. Adem Bona. Quentin Grimes. Okay, he's a good player. Sure. He's a good player. 28 points for him. Jared Butler, Lonnie Walker, da-da-da-da-da. You beat them by 9 points. I mean, I don't know. Kind of an indicator of what could happen against the Bucks coming up. Rudy Gobert missed a 20-20 by 1 rebound. Dang it. 3 blocks, 2 steals. Good for him. But this kind of was a lethargic game, generally speaking. Like, why is this so close? Come on. Like, you're starting to build a lead, and then it evaporates again, and you build another lead, and it evaporates again. It's just again, it's an indicator of, microcosm of the season. I could repeat that 50,000 times and probably be accurate, because every game is like a microcosm of the season. It's one way or another, whether the Wolves get blown out or the Wolves win by a couple points or the Wolves blow someone else out. Every game's a microcosm of the season. You could pretty much say it. Like, this is a microcosm. Just screwing around against a team that's, unfortunately for them, one of the bottom feeders of the league this year. They got to trust the process all over again, don't they? Because I don't think Paul George is going to save him, and Joel Embiid apparently isn't going to be able to do that either, or Joel Embiid. I don't think he's going to save him. Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry sure aren't. Years ago, wonderful players, but they're, like not much younger than me at this point. Like Kyle Lowry was on the same, was over there with Mike Conley when Mike Conley was young with the Grizzlies. Like, it's like, well, Lowry is good enough to be a starting point guard. Eventually, he had to get traded. God forbid, I wish it was to the Wolves, but it just never happened. Listen to the old Timberwolves Explosion episodes. I was like, get Kyle Lowry, please, get Kyle Lowry, please. Where you're repeating yourself and when you're like in your dreams at night, please get Kyle Lowry. It never happened. Now the Wolves would probably get him, maybe, when he's like, as Rick Pitino would say, gray and old. Yeah, he's not walking through that door, fans. He's not walking through that door. Famous Rick Pitino rant. I just heard Doogie on what is it? The heck is it called? Flagrant Howls, or I think it was like Minnesota Sports. It was a combination of things. He was talking about Naz Reid is probably going to be making $30 million a year. I don't know. Do you think Naz Reid's a $30 million a year player? I think he's a wonderful player. Wonderful, but $30 million? And they're like 25. That's not enough. Really? 25 is not enough for Naz Reid? I don't know. I think that's kind of steep. And yeah, you never know. As much as I want to re-sign Julius Randle, I wonder how much he's going to want. He's been wonderful, generally speaking. He doesn't have great games every night. Another guy, speaking of not having a great game, Jaden McDaniels, could have used a little help. 0 for 6 from the floor, 2 points, 3 frickin' rebounds in 25 and a half minutes. Terrific. Well, he got a blocked shot, though. Yeah, take that, right? Ouch. Rudy Gobert, though, yep, they're utilizing Rudy Gobert's offensive capabilities that do exist close to the rim. Not not so close to the rim and hoping he, doesn't clang a semi-mid-range shot. That's not really his game. He needs to play kind of almost like a Shaq kind of a game. And hoping, obviously hope he doesn't bobble the ball away. There's always that possibility. But if you can get him close enough to the rim where he can just catch the ball and jam on people, that's utilizing Rudy Gobert's strengths. And that's what's been fun watching Rudy Gobert of late. 10 of 11 from the floor. Like, again, that's utilizing the guy's strengths. He also had 3 blocks. Wolves do escape this game, which, I don't know, I don't think they should have had to escape when I read off that starting lineup to you. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know why. It just got kind of sloppy and lazy. Shall we get to the feature presentation? The other side of being a feature presentation because of what took place. Then again, the Memphis game could be the feature presentation too. You know what? Let's do that because how much I despise that team. And their quote-unquote best player. Ugh. I think I like them less than the Nuggets now. In fact, I do. I do like them less than the Nuggets. The Nuggets are like third, like the Mount Rushmore or whatever of teams I despise. Warriors first, Memphis second, Nuggets third, fourth. Used to be Portland long ago. I don't know if there's a fourth. It'll probably come to me in a minute. Probably the Detroit Pistons. No, not really. The Wolves were kind of messing around with the Bucks a little bit in the first quarter, but then just kept building a lead and building a lead and building a lead. Things looked so positive as you headed into the third quarter. Well, you were in the third quarter and continuing to build their lead. Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo, whether they make $30 million or $12 million or 15 or whatever, had a hell of a game, generally speaking, until things started to unravel in the fourth quarter, inexplicably. Turnover central. Dante DiVincenzo, generally speaking, again, was great until he started getting a little funky. 24 points, 6 of 10 from downtown. Naz Reid, 3 of 7 from downtown, 7 of 12 overall, or 17 points. I don't know why Jalen Clark doesn't get more run, though. Like, what did he have the last game? Like 3 minutes or something? 3:50 in this one? I think Jalen, what did he have? I think he had a little more against Philadelphia. Where am I? Jeez. Turning into a certain older politician who forgot where he was. It was over 9 minutes. So not a whole lot there. Obviously, he's one of those guys who does more than the box score will show you. We all understand that, again, when it's a defensive specialist kind of a guy. But he can provide offense as well. There's no doubt about that. Only 3 minutes, though. Could have used his defense and his toughness out there. 4 minutes, basically. Kind of a bummer. I don't know. Especially as things started to unravel. Maybe could have used a little defensive life out there as the Bucks started making everything and the Wolves started missing everything, and it just got stupid. Could have used a little more help from Julius Randle. This was probably one of his weakest games in a very long time. 5 turnovers, 9 points, 3 of 8 from the floor. Ouch. Conley, again, looked like he was getting a little bit older. He didn't turn the ball over, but I don't know. He just looked like an older guy who was kind of out of place in this game as far as I'm concerned. Trying his best, I'm sure, but I don't know. It was fun to watch, again, for about 3 quarters, and the way everything just started to unravel was despicable. From about the 9-minute period or so, 10 to 9-minute period or so in that fourth quarter, that's when things started to get weird. Like, he started missing shots. Okay, the Bucks made it 3. He missed again, and the Bucks made another shot, or 3, or whatever. He turned the ball over again. Okay, the Bucks are starting to get on a little bit of a run here. Can we, settle down? What the heck? Apparently the Bucks had switched to a 2-3 zone since what's-his-name is the greatest defensive coach in history, I guess. No, he's not. He's a good defensive coach. I don't think he's as good. I don't think he's the best ever or anything. But that would be Doc Rivers, Mr. whatever he is, Mr. Complain every 10 seconds to the ref, basically. Gets slightly old. But what also gets old is how the Wolves made no adjustments, and seemed flummoxed by a 2-3 zone, which we played in 6th grade. We played 2-3 zone in 6th grade. You know that? Yeah. It's a good defense. It's a good defensive scheme. But, I mean, we played it in the 6th grade, though. You have to have some clue what you're doing, don't you? Do we have to be that flummoxed by a 2-3 zone? It's, in my case, that's how many years? 30 years ago? That we played 2-3 zone? More than 30 years ago. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, blah, blah, blah. 2-3 zone. It's a good defense, yes, but it's not, earth-shattering. It's simply not. And Finch had that look in his eye I'm not sure. I mean, we'll be okay, kind of, maybe not. I'm not sure what to tell you guys. And that's kind of was the vibe the whole rest of the game, including some of the halftime interview or post-game interviews where they're just like, "Yeah, I'm pissed off, but we got to just move on to the next game." Kind of all that cliche crap. Even Anthony Edwards was doing that. I know you have to kind of stabilize things. You got those obnoxious Memphis Grizzlies coming up, and let me tell you, they're obnoxious, all right. Especially a certain point guard thinks he's better than Michael Jordan, I guess. But yeah, he kind of does. This was one of those historic, epic collapses. A fan base you don't really think of as obnoxious, but well, they felt obnoxious in this one just because the game was making you so pissed off. Anything not involving the Wolves, like getting their heads out of somewhere and kicking the Bucks' ass, was going to feel irritating. That's pretty much what this was like. It was that kind of game where you throw bricks at the TV and God knows what else. People are trying to sleep. You're cursing silently to yourself, if possible, so you don't get yelled at or whatever, that kind of thing. But this was absolutely, the kind of collapse that you, I don't know, again, a microcosm of the season, I guess. It just was one of those kind of games where you come out of it beyond irritated, and you keep thinking again, yeah, this team's going to get swept in the first round. They play like this, or just losing 6 or 7 games. Either way, losing a series, whether it's a sweep or a 7-game epic battle, you're still getting knocked out in the first round. You could even imagine nonsense like this happening in a play-in, where you win and continue and lose and you're out, that type of thing. Luckily, the Wolves would have 2 chances because they're in the upper tier of the play-in, should they wind up in the play-in. But a golden opportunity just thrown away is the same night. What was it? Harrison Barnes hits a clutch 3-point shot at the buzzer against the hated Golden State Warriors, the George Washington, Mount Rushmore. It's the George Washington and Thomas Jefferson of players I despise on the George Washington team of teams I despise. Getting beat at the buzzer by the Spurs. So, I mean, that was awesome. And you just throw it away by giving up a run that is, again, historic. That's what you keep coming back with, historic collapse. Great numbers brought up again, put together by Hopeless Wolves fan. I wish I could get it out here. I had it retweeted. Okay, now I'm hitting something completely I don't want to do here. X Premium. Yeah, someday. The show's not popular enough for that. Might never be. Where is it? Yep. Hopeless Wolves fan. Here's the tweet. After a Dante DiVincenzo 3, the Wolves go up 95-71 with 10:09 to play. Yep, it was right about that 10-minute period. Yep, I remember that 10-minute point of the game. Then Wolves give up a 34-3 run with 0 made field goals in over 8 minutes. Yep, they're clanging shots, forcing up threes, air balls, or just bouncing off the rim or wherever. But either way, missed layups. Freaking pathetic. Again, guys that you think should be making $30 million a year because they're just so great. Well, I love Naz Reid, but sometimes he sucks in traffic, by the way, if you didn't notice. 5 minutes without a single point, 11 turnovers. 11 turnovers during that 34-3 run. 11. That's bleepity bleep. You can play a whole game and have 11 turnovers. 8 points scored in the final 10 minutes, 13 in the quarter. Fire him. Yes, and this was the same day, and this has been brought up already, but of course, the same way of saying it, but same way of saying it. Mike Malone and Kelvin Booth were fired by the Denver Nuggets in the heat of a playoff chase. The heat of where teams are vouching for playoff seeding, as they say. Battling for playoff seedling. Well, you know what I mean. As I give you more word salad and podcast salad here. I'm not going to edit that out. Why should I? This is natural. This is a natural show. You're getting the natural me. You're not getting me stammering all over myself and editing 900 minutes of podcast, data. It's not going to happen. I want to be authentic if humanly possible. I know some people are like that, where they'll spend 5 hours editing all their stutters. I'm not, and because they stutter way too much. So you're getting me. If you think this is good quality, great. I hope it is. Plus, I like to pretend the show's live. What kind of radio person are you if you can't do a live show? What was I even getting to? I don't even remember anymore, other than the Wolves, again, an epic collapse, 11 turnovers in a small amount of time. Okay, Mike Malone, and that's what it was. Mike Malone and Calvin Booth were fired. That's the conversation. And I put up a poll. We'll save that for fan interaction. I should. I don't want to get too far ahead. But yeah, Mike Malone and Calvin Booth fired. Of course, Taylor Jenkins, the next team we're going to play, Memphis Grizzlies, was fired as well. The Denver Nuggets right in the heat of a playoff chase and so on and so forth. Second place in the Northwest standings, 48 wins. So they're still very much in play, are the Denver Nuggets. I think it's different, though. Yeah, this is old. I'm going to refresh it. It's 48 wins. Okay, Wolves at 47, only one game behind the Nuggets, who are being coached by David Adelman, former assistant coach for the Wolves under Rick Adelman. David Adelman was multiple times on the Paul Allen Show locally here in the Twin Cities, KFAN. You may have heard of it. Cool, really cool guy, very knowledgeable. I like David Adelman. I kind of hope he wins the job. Not at our expense though, or anything like beating us in a series or something, or you know what I mean, that type of deal. I like David Adelman. I'm guessing there's little to no chance that's what happens, but maybe. I think David Adelman deserves a chance to be a head coach. Obviously, Flip Saunders' son, Ryan Saunders, is on the coaching staff as well. Apparently, he moves up to senior assistant. Like, he's like the lead assistant, basically. Kind of like Micah Nori here with Minnesota, who did not get a job with, like, say, Cleveland or something. Imagine that. Look at Cleveland now. They rock. But they got, Atkins? So he's a great coach, obviously. He's a very good coach at the very least. We'll see. We'll see what happens, though. But, yes, possibly, like, firing Chris Finch at some point. I mean, I was thinking, watch the Wolves do that and then sign or hire Adelman. Hire Mike Malone. But then again, why would you do that? Could you imagine Mike Malone coming in and having to, like, install his system right as we're heading into the postseason? That'd be kind of weird. So that's obviously it's not going to happen that way. I'm surprised Denver didn't just wait out things until the end of the year and then you fire the guys. That's usually how things go. Taylor Jenkins, I don't know if it's some kind of weird emergency thing, but I guess with Memphis, I mean, was it that toxic? I don't know. Mike Malone, I'm going to tell you, when you watch some of his post-game press conferences, he's kind of a jerk. So I can imagine, that was probably part of it. It just got to a point where there was just too much, what do they call it, animosity towards each other, like him and maybe like the ownership of the Denver Nuggets, and probably, of course, again with Calvin Booth, because I'm guessing they weren't on the same page, and the owners were basically like, bleep you, you're both fired, that type of thing. So I don't know. I think there was a lot of stuff going on, and Mike Malone is kind of a jerk. If you didn't notice, like he's got a chippiness to him. He really does, like a chip on his shoulder. So I don't know. And speaking of chippiness, things got chippy against the Bucks as well, where you had multiple technical fouls, no ejections or anything, but it did get very chippy. I thought, what's his name? Portis kind of made an ass of himself. Definitely. I mean, like, everybody's always got something against Rudy Gobert, and it's getting to a point of like, okay, guys, seriously, enough already. Was it Porter and Portis? So one way or another, both of them were kind of in it, and even Gary Trent Jr. was mouthing off. Bleep you guys. So that was an extremely irritating night. So now we'll go to the other feature presentation. Boy, these games are dramatic. Too bad the Wolves couldn't win both of them. Another super dramatic game. John Morant likes to run his mouth a lot. This is, of course, TNT and FanDuel Sports Network. I'm surprised you had both options. But we did, I guess. I did have it on FanDuel. Maybe I should have had it on TNT, but Michael Grady's about as good as it gets. So, I mean, if you don't like Michael Grady, you probably don't like basketball announcers. I mean, you probably don't. To be fair, Jaden McDaniels did play well against the Bucks, and he was okay against the Grizz leads. He was decent, actually. He was pretty good. Not as good as he'd been earlier. Gobert, also, the last couple games, not so much. Only 5 field goal attempts, but made them all. Dunking close to the basket. Even 3 of 4 from the line was Mr. Rudy. Anthony Edwards got cooking hot in that third quarter. Things were kind of close, kind of a back and forth battle. The Wolves felt like the better team most of the way. The second quarter, 41-30, second quarter. No. This was Memphis going in match. I'm looking at this completely backwards. I apologize. It was a franchise record, 52 points in one quarter, where this went from a high-scoring game to a ridiculously high-scoring game. 52-25, third quarter. Wolves were spanking and slashing and crushing the Memphis Grizzlies. We pulled out our hunting rifles. There you go. Against the Grizzly Bears. Yeah. Hunting rifles, that kind of thing. So, yeah, enough about rifles. Sorry, John Morant. Yeah, I know that was tacky. Right, and I don't think John Morant meant hunting rifle. I have no idea what kind of rifle he means. Because I don't think he's a hunter type. I just don't. I don't think so. I don't think he's the hunting rifle type. Mike Conley going against his former club, 9 assists, 2 turnovers. I was kind of backtrack a bit to see how many total turnovers the Wolves had against the Schmucks, but it is kind of like the 11 turnover 10-minute run is bleep and bleep bleep. 25. That's impossible. The Wolves only had 2 turnovers leading into that point because they were smashing the Bucks. We were pulling out the hunting rifles on the Bucks. So you're telling me, like Stephen A. Smith, are you telling me the Timberwolves only had 2 turnovers before the Bucks went on that run? Yeah, I'm telling you that, Stephen A. Smith. I'm telling you that. It's crazy. The Wolves were pulling away from those Grizzlies. It felt like $1 million when it felt like the Grizzlies might be pulling away from the Wolves in the second quarter. Epic 52-point third. I don't think Anthony Edwards scored a point in the fourth, did he? I don't think he did. It felt like he just wasn't as involved offensively. And the Wolves started doing a little bit of Milwaukee Bucks nonsense again. Some of that crap was happening. The Wolves did maintain their lead the entire way, but it got a little scary at times. In fact, really scary at times. Ja was getting close to the basket. Was getting every foul you could imagine for a while there. It felt like it, but he only attempted 7 free throws, which is weird. But a lot of the fouls in this game were non-shooting fouls down the stretch as the Grizzlies were getting back in the game. My God, it was frustrating at times. Like, we're talking frustrating. Wasn't Scottie Pippen basically ran over on a play? And there was it felt like a shooting foul, but I guess he didn't really go in a full shooting motion. I mean, that was really weird. Kind of surprising. Or was it Aloma? I don't know. Some of these guys I get mixed up a bit. Get confused with them. It wasn't him. That guy's huge. I'm getting people mixed up. I guess it was Scottie Pippen Jr. Oh, what a weird game, though. Weird game. Bane, God, he's the bane of the Wolves' existence. Yeah, he's an obnoxious Wolves killer. Really nice player, but God, he's frustrating to play against. 6 of 10. Can't stand it. He drives me nuts, Desmond Bane. Whew, he makes it look so easy against us. It's so annoying. Jaren Jackson Jr., I'm going to tell you, I love him as a player. But, man, that's an alarming statistic. I'm just staring at it right now, and I can't believe what I'm looking at. You know how he played 37 minutes? He's a big man, a really good big man. How many rebounds did Jaren Jackson Jr. have in the entire 37 minutes he played? 1. What? But I suppose the Wolves were on fire. There was a stretch where I forget what it was. Was it to a point where there was was it 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter? The Grizzlies hadn't gotten a single rebound in that quarter. It was something like that, not 1. Or was it 2 minutes remaining? Because the Wolves were making every shot. So what rebound are you going to get? We were making everything. And he still almost found a way to lose this son of a gun. The fourth quarter was awful. Only 22 points. That's how the NBA is, man. I'm telling you. When they say game of runs. And that's how the Timberwolves have been. Another microcosm of the season. Hopefully this is more of the microcosm of the year versus the Bucks. Like, looking good and then goodbye, get out of here, you're done. So hopefully it's like you still end up winning by double digits in the long run. Somehow the Wolves still won by 16, despite only scoring 22 points in the fourth. But luckily those 22 points came because it felt like for the longest time it was Milwaukee Bucks all over again. I mean, how disastrous could that have been? After a 52-point third quarter. And the Wolves had like a 40-point third quarter against the Schmucks. The Bucks, the Schmucks, whatever they are. Julius Randle, epic performance. Makes you want to re-sign him again and again and again. Not sure for the amount. Obviously, he's getting an opt-out situation. Is he going to expect some big raise, or is it more about term? Like you give him like a 3 year, 90 million, 30 each or something, 30 flat. Especially if you got to keep Reed. If you want to keep Reed, is he really going to be pounding his fist demanding 30 million plus? I suppose Jaden McDaniels is making it, and it's kind of like, say, in the workplace, it's like, I'm better than this person over here, and they're making how much? So, hello. Yeah, I can understand that. That kind of happens in the workplace a lot, actually, where you're better than other people and stuff. Yeah, it happens once in a while. Yeah, just once in a while. Naz Reid, but is Naz Reid better than Jaden? Sometimes. 4-13 isn't going to make you forget about anything. So he does have these lousy games where he struggles. He just flat struggles. He misses in traffic and such. Still won up with 14 points because he got to the line. Naz Reid got ultra frustrated on multiple occasions in this one. He felt like they were calling a lot of fouls on him, kind of ticky-tack style, that type of thing. 5 personal fouls on our guy. Naz Reid definitely got into foul trouble. Major frustrations, but the Wolves end up surviving this one. Yes, I'm kind of too much about this guy. I don't like this guy. I don't like that guy. I don't hate Desmond Bain. No, I just hate playing again. I just hate the way he does good against us every time we play. I don't hate him. I don't like him either. Put it that way. Like I don't like him because he's on the other team. That kind of thing. Would I take him on the Wolves? Oh yeah, tomorrow if we could. I'd take Desmond Bain. John Morant. I don't know. I don't know if I'd take him because of. I don't know. It's like a time bomb waiting to go off. I'm kind of worried. I'm sure the Memphis Grizzlies fans are too. Kind of worried. This is probably a reason why the coach. I just don't even. Part of me doesn't even want to imagine. Like Mike Malone, I think he's a chippy guy who snaps at people. I don't think he's the best person. Yeah, good coach, but I think he's a little too much. Chris Finch, I think, is a very good guy, but maybe isn't as much of a control freak as like Mike Malone probably is. I can imagine him being a control freak. Jenkins, I have no idea. I don't have as much knowledge on Jenkins. And we played against him in a whole series. Not sure what happened there. But somehow the Wolves and the Grizzlies are tied with 47 wins. Again, if the Wolves win total gets to 49 and 33, we are the 6th seed. Anthony Edwards, again, a 44-point game. But again, it felt like he didn't score a damn point in the fourth quarter. I don't think he did. It's just one of those weird fourth quarters where it's like not about who's scoring. It's about, is anybody going to bleep and score? And are we going to get a stop here? Like, are we going to stop turning the ball over and stop screwing around and sending the Grizzlies to the line? Like stopping the clock and they're getting, free throws. John Morant did struggle a little bit at the line, which was kind of funny. I kind of enjoyed that. I took satisfaction in that a little bit. 5 of 7 isn't terrible. It just felt like he missed some crucial ones there. This is weird, though. It felt like the Grizzlies were at the line like crazy, but it was mostly the fourth quarter, wasn't it? Man, because again, the Wolves it was kind of like a shot the ball and it went in type of game for both teams. About 52% for Memphis for the game, 50% from downtown. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Wolves, 55% from the floor and 45% from downtown. So it was just one of those nights where guys are just making shots on both sides of the equation, so you're going to get less free throws. Wolves were good at the line, and 25 of 28 is pretty damn good. Grizzlies attempted only 21 free throws. Yeah, isn't that weird? And they didn't shoot well, like 70%, 15 to 21. Kind of sucks. But Wolves definitely struggled from downtown in the fourth quarter, and struggled in general in that fourth quarter, but survived. By the grace of God himself, the Wolves survived against the Memphis Grizzlies and now have a real shot at the 6th seed. You lose this one, and you probably lose the season. Like, you're probably just in play-in, and I don't know, unless you have some kind of an epic performance against a Rockets team that's suddenly, on fire again. Which is possible. You could beat the Rockets, but odds are they wouldn't. The Thunder, you do not want to be the 8th seed. Thunder are pretty good. Wolves have played them very well, but they are likely to have home court advantage throughout the entire NBA postseason. I believe they already have clinched that, I guess, with 66 wins. I don't think anybody's going to catch that. So, awesome season. In fact, it's actually the most wins in franchise history, if I remember correctly, because the 96 Sonics Supersonics went to the NBA Finals, only to be sacrificial lambs to the 72 win Bulls, the 96 Bulls. They won 64 games that year. So I don't think I don't think the Seattle Supersonics won more games than that in the distant past. Like the 79 Sonics, that's the one that actually won the championship. The 78 Sonics went to the finals. Maybe just for fun fact type of thing. I'd like to see the final standings. Dang it. Anyway, here we go. Sorry, it's like you get it pulling up here. The Wizards, the Washington, Bullets, so they were called. I believe the Sonics and Bullets went up against each other twice in a row. 78 and 79. The first year, the Supersonics only won 52 games in 79. The Wizards/Bullets won 54, so they were slightly better. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, the Bulls were not good back in the day. No, they were not. The Bulls were in the Western Conference and the Pacers. And the Bucks. I think we would have had fun with that kind of, those Midwestern teams. The Jazz were in the East? What? Yeah, that was probably back in the day, maybe because they'd moved from New Orleans, because New Orleans is kind of east, sort of. It's like right on the middle there. It's right on, Weird. Rockets? Oh, come on. That doesn't make no sense. That don't make sense, Joe. That's funny. 78 final standings. So, there's literally no chance that these 76ers were real good. 55 wins. The Spurs were in the East. Yeah, I guess they put Texas teams in the East for some reason. That's weird. The Jazz in the East. What, the devil? No, that was probably New Orleans then, though. Supersonics only won 47 games that year. The Blazers, with Bill Walton himself, 58 wins, because that was obviously, they were coming back as the defending champs. Interesting. Bill Walton, God rest his soul, of course. The Suns were real good back in the day. I couldn't name a whole lot of Suns, though, back in the, 70s. Yeah, I think there's a name or two. Jack Sikma was on the Sonics, wasn't he? So, wow, the Lakers, even they were good in 77. Hard to believe. They did have some good players, including Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. What the hell am I looking at here? That's impossible. How could the Sixers have only won 58 games? Maybe it was a shortened season. Sonics were no good in 77. Why am I looking at that? Blazers, 49 wins. So, long story longer. The Oklahoma City Thunder franchise record, 66 wins. There. I dragged that out way too long. A epic, dramatic game against the Memphis Grizzlies. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it to a point, other than getting mad and getting pissed off and all that, and frustrated with a possible collapse again. But the Wolves did hang on. We'll see though. We'll see what happens as this goes forward into the off season. We'll see how the postseason happens. Obviously, we'll see where the Wolves stand here at the end. I do believe they get the 6th seed. Spoiler alert. Second segment coming right up. Are you looking for a really nice Timberwolves-related Facebook page out there with cool fans and a wonderful host? Well, look no further than Wolfpack from Flip to Finch, hosted by Scott Doherty. He does a great job. Scott Doherty's an awesome guy, and the fan base on there, obviously passionate about the Wolves, but also respectful of other people's opinions regarding the team. Check out the page. It's awesome. Wolfpack from Flip to Finch. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, moving right the heck along here. Just 2 games to go. And I do believe the Wolves get the 6th seed, which means I do believe the Wolves beat the Bucks and the Brooklyn, Did I say the Bucks? The Brooklyn Nets and the Jazz. Brooklyn Nets and the Jazz, okay? It has nothing to do with the Bucks. Cam Thomas is the leading scorer at the moment for the, if he's there. That's the other thing. I'm pretty sure he is on the. Yes, he is on the Nets, but he's injured with a hamstring. So, never mind. He won't be playing. Cameron Johnson. Yep, 18.8. Dennis Schroeder. He's on the Pistons, isn't he? So good for him. He's on the Pistons. Yeah, the Nets made a lot of trades, and because they're just they're a mess and they want to be better basically. D'Angelo Russell's back there with 13 points a game, so he's basically the kind of semi-leading scorer basically. Cam Thomas is there, but he's hurt. Lemon and tomato juice for you, Cam Thomas. Good player, but hurt. Welcome to the NBA, unfortunately. Nick Claxton, 10 points a game. Son of Speedy, the little point guard who was a Speedy guy. No, he was a good player. I like Speedy Claxton, but yeah, I remember he had an ACL at some point in his career, unfortunately. We just played these guys. We kind of messed around with them. It wasn't that good of a game, but the Wolves survived, thankfully. What am I looking at? This one should be in Tarjay. Yes, both games are. Injuries. The Wolves have none. Okay, knock, 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 knock. Stay this way. Please stay this way. Please, 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 please. Cam Johnson back. Missed a lot of time this year. March 29th, whatever. I'm guessing he's not going to play again. Noah Clowney, ankle, March 29th. D'Angelo Russell, ankle, April 6th. So this is probably going to be like, okay, let's just get the hell out of here without any more injuries type of thing with the Brooklyn Nets. And I think the Wolves, hopefully they build a sizable enough lead and you're able to sit the starters pretty early in this game. I'm praying that this is the case. I'm sure some of the guys out there playing, the reserve players that'll play extended minutes, are going to play their ass off. They want the job. They want jobs. They want minutes. They want contracts. Completely understandable. Like, wouldn't you? So look at it that way, of course. Completely understandable. So be ready for a bit of a fight. But use your superior talent and get the damn job done. That's all you got to do. Comments, I didn't even talk about Julius Randle's overall numbers in the last game. 31, 10, and 5. Epic game against the Memphis Grizzlies. He was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. And I loved how he said, we just need to be professional in these last few games. Yep, we need to be professional. Show up, get the job done. And that's it. And yes, Julius. Agree with Julius 1,000% in these upcoming games. The Wolves need to be professional going forward. And that's it. So, love Julius Randle. Really like what you had to say. I didn't even pass out awards for the last episode, did I? Or the last week here. Well, awards and demerits. Well, the demerit, the Johnny Flynn Memorial, goes to the entire team for the collapse. All the players out there turning the ball over and screwing up and missing shots. That's everybody gets that one. The Lone Wolf Award for that last week here, I think I want to go to Julius Randle. He didn't have a perfect week, but I'm going to go with Julius Randle. I really loved how he performed, generally speaking. Rudy Gobert's even, he probably should have just got it straight up last week. He was so freaking good. But, I don't know, everybody struggled against the Bucks. But Julius Randle will get the award, even though, he struggled. So he also has a Johnny Flynn, like everybody else on the roster, that actually played in those games. They have to have played in the game, and they get it. But Julius Randle is the lone wolf. So, let's be professional out there. The Nets are 28th in points. Wolves are 13th. Nets are 28th in rebounds. Wolves are 15th. The Nets are 29th in field goal percentage. The Wolves are 16th. Nets are 25th in three-point percentage. The Wolves are 3rd. All right. Nets 22nd in assists. Wolves 16th. Turnovers. The Wolves are 18th. The Nets are 20th. Assist to turnover ratio. Nets 22nd. Wolves 16th. Blocked shots. Wolves 22nd. The Nets are 22nd. The Wolves are 14th. Steals. The Nets are 20th and the Wolves are 17th. Of course, the Wolves did have a 15-point win against Brooklyn. I felt like they were screwing around for a while, but eventually pulled away. Brooklyn Nets are 2-3 in their last 5, including beating the New Orleans Pelicans recently and getting crushed by the Hawks, 133 to 109 recently. Wolves are 4-1 in their last 5, but the one loss is that epic collapse versus the Bucks. Next, please. Utah Spaz and Target Center, 17 wins, 63 losses. Yeah, opposite of what they were all those years ago against the Bulls. Injuries for the Jazz. Isaiah Collier, groin, April 8th. Elijah Harkless, groin. What the heck is going on there? What's going on with you guys in these groins? Huh? April 8th. KJ Martin, illness, April 4th. Jazz are 21st in points. Okay, the Wolves, well, partially, yeah, let's go back. The Wolves win by 18 over the Nets. Final score 126 to whatever it would be. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, the Wolves beat the Nets by a final score of 126-108. 126-108. Wolves win by 18. Leading scorer in that game will be Naz Reid against the Nets. Jazz are 21st in points, 6th in rebounds, 21st in field goal percentage, 22nd in three-point percentage, 20th in assists, worst in the league in turnovers, 30th. Worst in the league in assist-to-turnover ratio, 30th. Blocked shots, 22nd, just like the Nets. Interesting. And 30th in steals. Geez. So they turn the ball over and don't get it back. So basically, possession of the ball, the Utah Jazz are awful. Though they did beat the Wolves back on February 28th, 117-116 in an epic bullcrap epic failure by the Wolves. I believe Anthony Edwards was suspended, right? Wolves got revenge. About 3 weeks later or so, two weeks later, approximately, by 26 points. The Wolves also crushed the Jazz back on January 30th. I do believe the Wolves finished with a series victory against the Jazz. Final score along the likes of, I think it's going to be kind of screwing around a little bit, but ultimately the Wolves win 122 to 108 again, or 110, something like that. The Jazz had lost 4 in a row. Giving up 143 to Houston, 147 to the Hawks, and 140 against the Indiana Pacers. Jazz were in that Hawks game, 147-134 for a bit, but ultimately the Hawks still kind of crush them. They've been giving up a lot of points lately. 143, 140, 147, and 133 respectively. Well, no, 126 respectively. They scored 133 against the Blazers in a victory. So good for the Jazz there. Harkens back to the 92 Western Conference Finals. Yep, way back in the day. Jazz and Portland Blazers for the rights to lose to the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan's, at the time, historic first quarter epic run, making 6 threes in a row and shrugging to Marv Albert and co. Okay, because it's not his, three-pointers weren't his forte. Believe me, they would have been if he was playing today. You don't think he would be good at everything, required? He would have been. It's Michael Jordan, you sons of guns. For those of you that are hating on Jordan and thinking he's not the GOAT. Oh, yes, he is. But the Wolves kind of screw around a little bit, but get the win. Leading scorer in this one, I think it's going to be kind of an odd one, like a Nickeil Alexander-Walker with like 22. Something along those lines. It'll be like a Keel with 22 in that one. The Wolves get the victory and finish 49-33, 6th seed, but unfortunately probably will end up playing the Lakers in the first round, which I can't tell you I'm too excited about. Small possibility you might get the Nuggets or Clippers or that Northern California team. There's always that possibility, which is kind of horrifying, actually. Right now, at the moment, the Wolves would be the 8th seed and would have to play the Kings. That would suck. Yeah, we'd have to play the Kings. That would kind of suck, I think, but then we'd be set at the 8th seed, basically. I believe that's how it would go. And if Memphis beats the Cowboys, the Dallas Mavericks, they'll be the 7th seed. God, that sucks. But we win both games. Apparently, we clinch because of the tiebreakers and such. So, God willing, the Wolves will wind up with the 6th seed. I certainly hope so. It's kind of hard. It's kind of weird. It's weird to think about, isn't it? But we'll see what happens. Golden State losing to the Spurs was kind of a bad thing, and bad thing for them. Great for us. Wolves losing to the frickin' Bucks, and a couple of other games this year, and they'd be in, gosh dang it, that Utah game. That's 49 wins right there, and you're tied with the Lakers. What do you think of that, huh? Gosh dang it. Son of a blank. I don't know. It's so frustrating. The stupid Indiana game, the Wolves lost. Stupid Indiana game, the Wolves lost. 50 wins right there. 50. Where would we be? Third, without being in a tie. 2 games behind the Rockets. Think about it. That's how close the Wolves are to possibly being a 2 seed if they didn't screw around this year. It's extremely frustrating, and that's why people are talking about Chris Finch possibly not being retained in the not being brought back or being moved on, and Mike Malone or Taylor Jenkins possibly. So you do have some interesting free agent coaches floating around right now that are, available if you didn't know what a free agent was. And it could be pretty exciting long term when it comes to the, it could be pretty exciting unless you do believe Finch is that guy. Some people are talking about the whole, like Phil Mackey and all that, comparing, how you had Doug Collins in Chicago and Mark Jackson in Golden State. Obviously, Doug Collins replaced by Phil Jackson, and Mark Jackson replaced by Steve Kerr. I'm not a Steve Kerr fan. I'll just leave that right where it is. I'm not a Steve Kerr fan. Not Kerr or Curry. I don't like either one of them. I just don't. Phil Jackson, obviously, greatest coach ever. I mean, whether you like him or not, I mean, he's awesome. I have a lot of respect for Phil Jackson. I mean, yes, I respect Steve Kerr, but I'm not a fan. That's all. He's kind of an annoying person. He's kind of annoying. There's a reason why Michael Jordan punched him in the face. I mean, there is. He's annoying. So he didn't do it because he's just a bully, Michael. So with that said, I believe that'll be enough of this brief conversation. Elongated conversation. We'll get to fan interaction right after this. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 3. You know what the after this was? I mean, that was Vince Germano imitating me years ago on, was it Showtime and T-Wolves? Yeah, because he got to be the host at times. That was fun. I was like, getting to see Vince Germano actually be the host and I be the co-host at times on Showtime and T-Wolves. I believe it was about 1 year ago that I did the little end of the 9-year hiatus type of thing. Yeah, we gotta at least do a show or two a year on Showtime and T-Wolves. I mean, that cool new logo. I just look at it and I'm like, that's cool looking, got old looking hardwood and such. Vince Germano, Melbourne, in of course Australia, and the Victoria Providence, doggone it. It's always teased me about that too, doggone it, right? I don't want to curse too much, I'm kind of trying to be a goody two shoes a little bit. But off air, watching the Grizzlies, watching the Nuggets, Warriors. Oh yeah, it's a little different vibe, and yes, I am kind of ashamed of myself a little bit, but yeah, it's a different vibe. Yeah, I get mad, and you could probably tell. I get a little bit mad. Okay, so Jaden McDaniel's GOAT. What was I sharing again? Okay, I was sharing it, which is great. Jaden McDaniel's GOAT says, haven't been able to watch this week because I'm on vacay. Shame on you. Just kidding. But I'm getting the sense of that Defensive Player of the Year Gobert might be back. Kind of looks like it, doesn't it? And that is huge right now. Agree. I quote tweeted it, that type of thing, or quote posted X post. I was saying it's absolutely crucial. How perfect would it be that the right people are getting hot at the right time? Yeah, and that's kind of what we talked about in the last episode, is getting hot at the right time. That's what we need to have happen. I was posting and with the dagger. Who is that again? That must have been against the heck is this? Bleep was that? Okay, now April 5th. That had to be the Sixers game, right? Yep, and at the dagger. Yeah, and where he put his hands up, Bobby, looking for a foul, which is pretty much what he does. He's a professional complainer when it comes to asking for fouls, and that was against Philly. He did have a nice dagger. In a lot of ways, Ant probably woulda, coulda, should be the Lone Wolf Award. I mean, he had 37. But, I don't know, I like Julius Randle's week. I really did. I like, he didn't play that well against the Sixers, did he? Okay, I'll still give it to Julius. Ant probably should have got it. Probably. Well, Julius was terrible against the Bucks. Edwards still, 2 of 11. I don't know. What do you want me to do? I'm gonna let Julius keep it. I love the way he played against the Grizzlies, I guess. I'm gonna let him keep it. I don't know. It's probably a weird pick on my part, and I apologize. Continuing, I know I'm making it. And Florida did get it done against the Houston Slamma Jammas, that type of thing. Houston Cougars, but Phi Slamma Jamma was their old thing back in the day. I believe they still use that slogan. But, man, it's like, one of those things. It happened back in '84 where, they went to the final. They went to the championship game against Georgetown of all the possible college teams out there. Patrick Ewing versus Akeem Olajuwon in a championship game. Isn't that cool? 10 whole years later, Game 7, Rockets and Knicks. The Knicks suffered a, brutal, or what's the word? A bitter Game 7 loss in a very, very close battle in that 7th game. Just a bitter defeat. But apparently, but it's like, something that probably slipped through history because it's been so long ago. Like, nobody talks about it. Houston Rockets, or Houston Cougars with Hakeem Olajuwon suffered a bitter defeat to Patrick Ewing and Georgetown, the Georgetown Hoyas, for the national championship. So at least Patrick Ewing did get that. So it makes me feel a little bit better because as happy as I was for Hakeem, and I loved that Rockets team at the time, at that brief time, I absolutely loved that Rockets team. Ori, Cassell, Olajuwon, I liked them much more than the 95 team, honestly. As much as you love Drexler and you're happy for him, absolutely very thrilled for Drexler. But I'm telling you, that 95 team was more fun. They kind of traded a lot of players away and such, like Otis Thorpe. Man, I love that team. Okay, sorry. But the Houston Cougars did suffer a bitter defeat to the Georgetown Hoyas and Patrick Ewing. So at least Ewing did get that. Okay, sorry. I'm going on too much. John Krasinski says it was an open secret in the NBA going back to the start of the season that the Nuggets front office and coaching staff didn't see eye to eye. This is still pretty stunning. Yeah. See, and again, Mike Malone seems kind of like a chippy kind of a guy, chip on his shoulder a little bit. I think he can be kind of a jerk. And I wouldn't doubt that was kind of wearing on people over there. And eventually it's like, okay, dude, whatever. So, I don't know. Yeah, but Shams Charney says full clean out. The Nuggets are also firing general manager Calvin Booth, Malone and Booth out. Where it's like, get out of here, you're fired. Like both of them because of the, just fighting basically. Probably too much fighting. I posted during the Bucks game, really, what an utter collapse. Responded by Tanae Brown out of New Zealand, a Mount Rushmore member of this show, like Vince Germano. Tanae Brown says, Wolves would have been better off just taking shot clock violations and setting the defense the entire fourth quarter. Yeah, they probably would have. I was saying, you're right. It's unreal how sloppy and irresponsible they were. I mean, they probably would have. That's a good thought. That's about it. But just let the clock run for 24 seconds. It would look funny, but it was just about right. Yeah. It's just stupid how they lost that game. I was saying I was watching the replay of the epic collapse from where it started around 9 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Absolute torture, embarrassing, pathetic. Continuing, of course, again, you can read the Hopeless Wolves fan line again. After a Dante DiVincenzo 3, Wolves go up 95-71 with 10:09 left to play. Then the Wolves give up a 34-3 run with 0 made field goals over 8 minutes. 5 minutes without a single point, 11 turnovers, 8 points scored in the final 10 minutes, 13 in the quarter. Fire him. Nico Medved, a new coach of the Gophers, was saying, I've watched and admired this guy for years. Excited to have him on our team. Sky Uma team together. That would be Robert Vaihola. So welcome to the Golden Gophers, apparently. Nico Medved, the new coach of the Gophers, and welcome. I like him. Sounds like a pretty good hire. So the big old poll, which got basically no response hardly. What the heck? Where is everybody? Jeez. Who would you like as Timberwolves coach next season? Chris Finch, Mike Malone, or Taylor Jenkins? Well, just a couple votes here. Just a few. Mike Malone wins 75%, 25% to Chris Finch, and 0 for Taylor Jenkins. Interesting. I was saying after the incredible frustration the past few years against the Memphis Grizzlies, the satisfaction tonight of just thrashing these fools on their home court is incredible. That's incredible satisfaction. Where's the reply? It's not showing the reply. I don't understand. Was it what happened? Did somebody curse me out, or was it some kind of fake account or something? Come on, there has to be a reply. It's ridiculous. Don't you hate that? Yeah, that's happened like multiple times here. I don't know what the heck happened. I can't do this. Is there did anybody respond to anything? Come on now. Saying the juice. Yep, Julius Randle there. Yep, at the end. And Vince Germano says, told you you'd love him. And I said, once you got acclimated, he's a keeper. I've been advocating re-signing him. Yeah, I would like to keep Julius Randle now. Phil Mackey had to repost this. Phil Mackey, of course, Score North and Flagrant Howls and all that. Says, Wolves trying to hold a 20-point lead with 10 minutes left. It's like somebody in a tank basically sweating like crazy, like in a tank in the army or whatever, just sweating like a madman. And that's kind of what it's like with the, it's kind of like with the Wolves holding a 20-point lead with 10 minutes left. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I guess that's it. Darn it. Oh, yeah, there is more from Tanae. I'm sorry. What's going on here? Why didn't I see this? I feel bad. Okay. This is the conversation about the Nuggets firings. One of them was Tanae saying it doesn't make sense at all. Like, what the heck? That's kind of weird. Yep. Them firing. Yeah, I was saying it's so strange, right in the thick of a playoff hunt as teams are fighting for seeding. And then Tanae says, again from New Zealand, says, come playoffs, anything can happen in the West too. I don't think seeding is that important for some teams. Yeah, you could get hot and knock these guys out of there. You could win road games in Game 7. Yeah, you can win Game 7s on the road. I mean, even the Wolves proved that. They'd never done it before, but they did it last year, kind of like the Minnesota Wild, in hockey. They did it. They've done it 3 times historically. Unfortunately, they finally lost a Game 7 a couple of years ago to the Vegas Golden Knights. The Wild haven't won a playoff series in a decade. Isn't that great? Yep, another Minnesota team that's been, double-digit years since winning a playoff series. Took the Twins like 20 years, right? 20 years. And it was just like a miniature little wild card series. But it's better than nothing. It still counts. Yeah, it counts, I guess. Yeah, but no, thank you, Tanae and Vince, for being a part of the show. Really appreciate you. Really do. And, of course, Hopeless Wolves fan as well. Hopeless Wolves fan. Oh, yes. And Jaden McDaniel's GOAT. Okay, that's how it got in there. He included me in it. It was kind of, he was talking to a few of us. Thank you, Jaden. Yeah. Okay, I get it. I think it was replying to the previous week's post, but it won't appear because it's a little bit later, which is great. That's why I was able to read it on this episode. So, yeah, thank you. I like that. With that said, I really appreciate all of you more than you can imagine. I mean, each and every one of you. If you're local, say something, say hello. Not many local people engage with this show very much, but I mean, it is what it is. Those of you from Australia, New Zealand, and obviously out of the Bronx, Benzo from the Bronx, I love you guys to death. So, I mean, wouldn't have it any other way that you guys are on this show, and hopefully more often. It's kind of my own fault. All I do is bitch and moan about stuff. I get frustrated, and maybe you're like, I don't even know how to reply to that. So my apologies if I'm a little obnoxious and don't get topical enough with some of my posts. Or if you're just flat out busy. That's part of life. So with that said, thank you again so much for being a part of this show. Thank you so much for listening. Keep sharing it with your friends. Anybody, if you haven't yet, please do. And if you haven't put a 5-star rating for the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please do. It'd be so greatly appreciated. It can make this show stronger and build up those algorithms to help this show continue to grow. Even though it's been around forever, it's kind of been, the growth has been stunted pretty much for quite a while. So that's kind of how it goes. It got a little bit better as the Wolves improve, because it's like they say, you're only as popular as your team is. If your team is not real good, the fan base probably isn't as interested in your podcast. That's just an unfortunate reality. And with sports, it's dated and such. A 10-year-old show might not be as interesting to most people, though some of you might like that just for historical purposes. With that said, thank you again so much for listening. God bless all of you, and go Timberwolves. Get that 6th seed.